When I do interviews at work, I can tell a junior right away. Conventional wisdom is still throw 100 applications at the wall and see if one sticks. Blind applications usually just doesn't work. Let's say I get an interview for an E5, which is our senior level. Like their resume might look good, but their experience is still junior. It has a lot to do with the best advice I could give for an interview is Hey friends, how's it going? Today we're going to be reading another Medium article. If you're new to this channel, my name is Johnny. I'm a staff software engineer at Meta, and I cover a variety of topics like tech, career advice, and a lot of AI actually. But today we're going to be reading an article titled "An Honest Recruiter Told Me Why Most Job Seekers Don't Get Hired." I thought it'd be a very interesting article, especially because a ton of people are looking for jobs these days. So I thought it would be helpful to read it. But yeah, that's why I'm reading it. So let's dive right into it. This article is by Joe Procopio. Sorry if I butchered your name. I'm really bad at reading names. I definitely think I have an accent, like a slight accent. As someone who has hired hundreds of folks from all walks of life into all kinds of tech startups, I thought I had a handle on how to find rock stars I needed. But the recruiting process has changed dramatically over the last few years. Not only has it become harder for talented folks to find a job, the system as it exists today seems to be actively playing defense against recruiting the best person to fill that job. This is really interesting. I guess I just never been on the recruiting side of things, so I can't really comment too much about this, but it has definitely gotten harder and harder for people to find work. That is for sure. Look, I've worked with recruiters on and off for the last 2 decades. Some are straight useless. Oof. Some are excellent, and a few have become friends over the years. As I was writing a recent column about the flood of fake jobs in the systems, I had an extended discussion over drinks with one of my closest recruiter friends. You know, this is one of the most fascinating things about LinkedIn and kind of the job market situation, that there is fake jobs. From my understanding, I heard that it has to do with the fact that companies seem like they're doing well. So they make a bunch of fake job postings so that people think that they're doing well and they want to apply to them. I don't really know why. Doesn't it cost money on LinkedIn? But I guess the public image is more important. So who knows? I was looking for secrets. She didn't have secrets, but she had tough love. Here's what Rosa told me. These are her top reasons why most job seekers don't have a shot at finding the job they want. These reasons are not boilerplate, they're rather eye-opening, and be forewarned, they might hurt. Okay, sure. Your resume is terrible. This is pretty true. I think even my resume is not amazing. I think it's decent, but it's not amazing. And honestly, I don't know if it matters that much. I have some hot takes on this. I actually think referrals is the best way to land a job. In those cases, I don't think the resume matters that much. I don't know. That's just my hot take. Shockingly, a lot of very talented people tend to hide their talent in the field of structured, formal, cryptic nonsense. I'm looking for white space, Rosa said. During a discussion about resume first impressions, if you've done important things, you should be able to highlight that in a few short words. This is really accurate. I feel like people who say a bunch of nonsense in their resumes with technical jargon and this and that, it's not really great. I just want really good projects or something that stands out, and I want to read about it so I can ask them in an interview. The converse is also true. If someone has spent their career riding a wave of what was happening around them, that truth will surface in a hyper-wordy, buzzword-fueled, over-designed word salad of a resume. This is very true. In other words, a lot of words that don't add up to anything. The days of a resume as a biography are long over. According to Rosa, your resume isn't the snapshot of you as a model employee. It's an attempt to match qualitative and quantitative aspect of a candidate to the job. And if you haven't done a lot of important things yet or recently, fine, she said. I understand that not every job lets you spread your wings. Your experience is only part of your resume. Make it short and sweet and move on to the next section. So I want to stop here really quickly and kind of talk about my thoughts on working. One of the common assumptions is that you want to job hop a lot to get the next pay bump and things like that. But I have always argued that you want to stay at a company for a decent amount of time. You want to go through the cycles where you are maintaining a project for a long long period of time. You're growing your network within the company, and you're, gaining your trust of your leaders, because until like year 2, maybe even 3, you're not going to be given like the most important projects. If you're not given the most important projects, then you're just going to not have like these great, amazing experiences to talk about. You're going to have low junior like level experiences. It's going to not be amazing unless you did like a startup where you built the whole dang thing yourself. Like the experiences that you'll get from job hopping every 2 years or like year and a half, it's going to be like very kind of subpar. It's not going to be amazing. You're not going to be able to lead anything amazing. This is another reason why I kind of suggest, dig in, learn the domain. Don't just jump because you get bored after a year and a half. A lot of times, like, things suck for a while, but then it's because you're growing, right? And then at some point you'll have another peak where you grow even more. And then like you gain the trust of all these people that you're working with. I don't know. That's just my personal hot take on working. It would solve this problem of having like non-noteworthy points in your resume. Okay, point 2. You don't do anything outside of work. You know what your edge is? Rosa asked me. Yeah, actually, I do. The writing. Exactly. She pointed at me. You write about what you do constantly, in depth, not because you have to for your job. If anyone clicks on your portfolio, it's a big plus in your favor. Although lately it seems I'm trying to hang myself. Okay, I don't know what this is. Doesn't matter. She shook her head. Whether someone agrees with you or not, it shows you are constantly thinking about what makes a company successful. I agree with this. I mean, this is partially why I do YouTube. First of all, for me, YouTube is probably my biggest hobby, and I really enjoy making these videos. But secondly, there is some like personal growth aspect to it, right? I could grow on LinkedIn, I could grow on YouTube. That brings my presence up. If I'm ever looking for another job, I think like these videos hopefully should help. Maybe I say some things that may be hurtful to me for my personal image and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think if anyone saw my YouTube channel, no one can say that I don't care about the topics that I talk about, because I genuinely do care, and it shows in the work that I do. Where was I? I've been writing for as long as I've been working. It feels like that anyway. But it took me a while to figure out that writing about what I did and everything that comes with it to make that writing valuable to others not only boosted the optics of my own value, but also went a long way to making me more valuable at what I do. If you're a software developer, you need to show that you're not just thinking about software development from 9 to 5, on weekends. And not just by listing skills or interests or classes, you've got to show action that reveals passion and motivation. This is so true. Like, it's so easy to tell if someone cares just by their content, actually, just by what they are outputting. It doesn't have to be social media, but like you could kind of just tell when you talk to someone. I honestly don't care if you run marathons or if you're a good dad, Rosa said. No one does. Those are all nice conversational points, but the odds of hobbies or character traits being the reason you get an interview are nil. I said, it isn't a college application. She almost did a spit take and pointed at me again. You don't do any prep. While it's not terribly surprising how little preparation a candidate might do for an interview, a lot of job seekers don't realize that preparation starts with the applications. This is interesting, but yeah, I do agree. The move to digital has made job hunting like throwing darts at a dartboard on both sides, Rosa's side. I've gotten better recently, but the conventional wisdom is still throw 100 applications at the wall and see if one sticks. Unsurprisingly, this doesn't work. And I agree. I always say referrals is the best way to get interviews, and just blind applications usually just doesn't work. Real recruiters for real jobs don't want to play a volume game. And what Rosa told me is that job seekers spend way too much time thinking about themselves and what they have to offer, and precious little time thinking about the company and what it needs. Is that fair? She asked hypothetically. I don't know, but it's necessary. This goes back to the connection point used to match the resume to the job descriptions. Not only does a resume need to be simple and effective, it needs to be tailored to the job, the role, the company, the industry, even the people at the top of the food chain. If you can find these connection points, ideally the ones that directly relate to what they're looking for, documenting those connection points on your resume, the application, or speaking to them in the interview can raise your profile over all of the other candidates that don't. So my only take here is that I don't think the resume actually matters at all at some point. Like, you need to have a clean baseline passing resume, but honestly, the referral is the most important. Networking is the most important, in my opinion. If you have a good referral and if someone can vouch for you, it just makes things a lot more easier. Your answers are pointless. Let me ask you something. Rosa drifted into a new topic. What makes you good at selling yourself, your products, and your company? I thought about this for a second, but the truth came out pretty quickly, so I went with it. You know, I said, I've been doing this for a long time, and at some point a while ago, I just stopped giving a shit. Like, I know what I'm doing is valuable and worthwhile, and I know people might not always see that. I guess I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. She laughed. That's exactly what an interview is for. That kind of candor, she said. Okay, maybe not that kind of candor, but I can't tell you how often I get bullshit answers to straightforward questions. And that's not just a sign of a lack of confidence. It's kind of insulting that they think I won't see through it. Turns out people on the other side of the table aren't so different. I think this has kind of something to do with your behavior. When I do interviews at work, I can tell a junior right away. Obviously, like the interview itself tells me they're applying for like a E4 or E5 position. So I could kind of sense that. But let's say I get an interview for an E5, which is our senior level. Sometimes I could just sense that their resume might look good, but their experience is still junior. And it just comes out from the way they talk. It has a lot to do with confidence and kind of candor. In my opinion, the best advice I could give for an interview is when you're getting interviewed or being interviewed, you want to sound like a normal person. And you want to have confidence in your abilities to be able to talk about your work. And to be able to have confidence in all of that stuff, you just have to have done that kind of work. You know, this goes back to what I was talking about, having like amazing projects under your belt, right? If you've never done those, it's very hard. It comes through. It's very easy to tell that you just haven't had that experience. So I think that's what this author, or Rosa, is getting to. It's still a two-way street. I knew all of this, but I didn't, you know? Rosa gave me a lot more. A lot of it about expectations and confidence. But my number one takeaway, as I hinted in the previous column, was that despite all of the digital transformation and scenery? See, I'm an immigrant, okay? I'm an immigrant. I don't know what this word is, but I'm okay. I'm confident to admit that. And frustration. The best path is still the honest path. Yeah, it's still about finding the best candidate for the best job. In fact, at the risk of sounding naive, the path to the dream is not a lot different than the dream itself. Doing what you love and getting paid to do it and getting recognition and reward when you do it well. It's still achievable, even as it seems to be getting further out of reach. The path remains the same. Be honest, put in the work, and fail and try again. You know, I will give some claps for this. I don't know how many claps I can give, but I will give some claps. Okay, 23 seems... okay. But yeah, this was a great article. I really enjoyed it. Joe Procopio. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this article. I think at a high level, I totally agree with a lot of these points that Rosa and Joe made. It kind of re-emphasized the things that I'm doing right now, even like making this video, reading articles about tech. It just kind of goes to show that like building in public and doing things in public, I think it's scary at times, but it's important, you know. Even for me, doing this and practicing this helps me like speak better, present better during meetings and all these things, and have like more concise ideas when I speak, even though I kind of mess up sometimes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick article. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to cover any like specific articles. Just let me know. I really actually enjoy this kind of format. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much, but I've been really having a good time just reading, catching up. It's a very relaxing and fun thing for me to do, and it's a good hobby for me to continue pursuing. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.